Welcome to English with Zenko Master. Get ready to learn something new today.
I took the night train to the city where we first met. The station was cold and empty when I arrived. It had been almost 7 years since I last saw him. I didn't know what I expected. Maybe a hug. Maybe nothing. But I needed to see him again. He had sent me a message 2 weeks earlier. "I think about you. Let's talk." That was all. No questions. No apology. Just a short sentence that opened a door I thought was locked. I almost deleted it, but I didn't. Something inside me still remembered how he made me feel. I couldn't ignore that. I didn't tell anyone I was going. I didn't want advice or judgment. I took 3 days off work and packed a small bag. On the train, I stared out the window at the dark landscape. I thought about his laugh, his smile, the way he used to look at me like I was the only person in the room. Back then, we had shared everything: our dreams, fears, silly jokes, and quiet nights. We had no fights, no drama. We simply drifted apart when he got a job overseas. He wanted me to come, but I had reasons to stay. We promised to talk, but time passed, and silence grew between us. Now he was back, or at least in the same country. He said he wanted to talk. That's all I knew. I felt nervous and excited, but also afraid. What if I had changed too much? What if he had? The next morning, I checked into a small hotel near the city center. The room was clean but old. The heater made a strange noise. I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling and listened to the sound of cars outside. I wondered what he looked like now. I wondered if I would still recognize him. He told me to meet him at our old cafe, the one near the park. We used to sit there for hours. Back then, we always took the window seat. I got there early. The cafe looked the same. The menu board had changed, but the chairs and tables were still familiar. I chose the window seat and ordered tea. I watched people walk by. Everyone looked busy, with a purpose. I felt like a stranger in my own memory. Then I saw him. He walked slowly, hands in his pockets. He wore a dark coat. His hair was shorter, and he looked thinner, but it was him. He stopped at the door and looked around. Then he saw me. He nodded once and came in. "Hi," he said. "Hi," I replied. My voice sounded too quiet, like I hadn't spoken in hours. We sat down. The silence between us was thick. He ordered a coffee. I kept my hands around my cup to stop them from shaking. "You look well," he said. "You too." I smiled, but it felt weak. He looked around the cafe like it was new to him. That surprised me. We used to come here often. He used to know the names of the staff. Now he looked like a tourist. "I wasn't sure you'd come," he said after a pause. "I wasn't sure either." He nodded again. "I've been thinking a lot. About us. About everything." I waited for him to continue, but he didn't. His eyes looked tired. He stared at his cup like it held answers. "Why now?" I asked. He stirred his coffee slowly. "Because I've been lonely," he said. "And I remembered how good you were to me." That wasn't what I wanted to hear. I wanted him to say he missed me, that he still cared. But instead, he made me sound like a warm memory, like an old song he used to like. I pushed the thought aside. "I thought you were in Spain," I said. "I was. Then Italy. Then back here. I move around. What do you do now?" He gave a half smile. "Some freelance work. Odd jobs. Nothing steady." He didn't look comfortable. He gave no details. He used to talk about his work for hours. Now he looked away whenever I asked something personal. "Are you happy?" I asked. He looked down. "No, not really." I looked at him closely. His face had changed. Not just older. It was tired, worn. His eyes didn't shine like before. His posture was different too. He sat like someone carrying something heavy. "You've changed," I said. He nodded. "So have you. You're calmer, more sure of yourself." "I've had time to grow," I said, "to understand what I want." He smiled a little. "That's good. I think I've been running from that." We finished our drinks in silence. Then he stood up and said, "Want to take a walk?" I followed him out. The sky was gray and the air was cold. We walked side by side without touching. There was space between us. Not just physical space, emotional space too. We passed a small bookstore. He stopped. "Let's go in. I come here sometimes." Inside, it was quiet and warm. He picked up a travel book and turned the pages. I watched him. His hands were shaking slightly. He looked older, not just in years, but in spirit. "You okay?" I asked. He put the book down. "I don't sleep much," he said. "Some health things, nothing major." He didn't say more. That was another thing. He used to tell me everything. Now he gave short answers and changed the topic quickly. As we walked back outside, I tried to make sense of it. Something wasn't right. He was here, but not really present. He looked at me like I was a reminder of another life. "I want to see you again," he said. "When?" "Tomorrow. Same cafe. Same time." "Okay." We said goodbye, and he walked away. I watched him disappear into the crowd, and for the first time since I got his message, I felt something sharp in my chest. Not love, not joy, worry. I had found him, but something was wrong. Before I share the rest of my story, could you please tell me where you're from? It gives me strength to know there's someone out there who listens to me, who understands me. It means a lot to me. The next morning, I walked to the cafe early again. I didn't want to be late. I wanted to be there before him, to watch him walk in. I needed time to study his face, his eyes, his movements, because I still didn't know what felt wrong. The same waiter from yesterday smiled at me. I ordered tea again and sat at the window, just like before. The streets outside were wet from light rain. People walked past with umbrellas, their faces hidden. I felt alone, even with all the movement around me. Then I saw him. He came from the other side today. He walked slower than yesterday. His coat was buttoned all the way up and his hands stayed deep in his pockets. He didn't wave or smile when he saw me. He simply nodded and came in. "Hi," he said as he sat down. "Hi," I replied. We looked at each other for a moment. He looked tired again. His eyes were red, like he hadn't slept much. He rubbed his face with one hand, then ordered coffee. "Rough night?" I asked. He gave a short laugh. "Something like that." He didn't explain, and I didn't push. There was a strange energy in the air, like he was trying to keep something hidden, but I didn't know what it was. "I walked around the city after we met yesterday," I said. "So many places are the same." "I avoid them," he said quietly. "Why?" "Memories," he replied. "They're not always good." That surprised me. We had happy memories here, or at least, I thought we did. Maybe he didn't feel the same. "You said you were lonely," I said. "But it sounds like you're running from something." He didn't answer at first. He stared out the window. Then he said, "I don't really talk to people anymore. Not the way I used to." "You used to be so open," I said. "You told me everything." "I don't know how to do that anymore." His voice was low, almost like he was ashamed. I wanted to reach across the table and hold his hand, but I didn't. He looked fragile, like touching him might break something. "You've changed," I said softly. He nodded. "I know. Do you want to talk about it?" "No, not yet." I respected that, but inside, I felt a growing sense of fear. This wasn't just someone who had changed with time. This was someone hiding behind silence, someone carrying something heavy. After we finished our drinks, we walked again. This time, he didn't say where we were going. We just walked. Past old bookstores, quiet parks, and closed shops. The city felt colder than it had the day before. "Are you still close with your family?" I asked. He shook his head. "Not really. We stopped talking years ago." "Why?" He looked at the ground. "It's complicated." I waited, hoping he would explain, but he didn't. His shoulders were tense, and his jaw was tight. It was like he was fighting some kind of storm inside himself. "Have you been seeing anyone?" he asked suddenly. "No," I said. "Not for a while." He nodded. "Me neither." The way he said it didn't sound honest. There was something forced in his voice. I wanted to believe him, but part of me knew he wasn't telling the whole truth. We stopped at a quiet bench near the river. He sat down and leaned forward, his elbows on his knees. I sat beside him, watching the water move slowly. "I was in a bad place for a while," he said after a long silence. "I made mistakes." "What kind of mistakes?" He didn't look at me. "I trusted the wrong people, got involved in things I shouldn't have, lost money, lost time. I hurt some people too." My heart sank. His voice was cold now, without emotion, like he was reading from a page, not telling his own story. "Did you hurt them on purpose?" I asked. "No," he said. "But that doesn't matter. I still did." I wanted to ask more, but I was afraid of the answers, afraid of what I might learn. "I've changed," he repeated, "but not in the way you think." "What do you mean?" He finally looked at me. His eyes were tired, but clear. "I'm not the man you remember. I wish I were, but I'm not." "Then why did you ask to see me?" "Because I needed to feel something real again." I didn't know what to say. Part of me was angry, part of me was sad, and another part still cared about him, even after all these years. "I thought I came back to someone I knew," I said. "You didn't," he replied. "You came back to someone who's still lost." We sat in silence. The wind blew softly. A bird landed near our feet, looked at us, then flew away. "Do you regret calling me?" I asked. "No," he said. "You're the only person who made me feel human again." I looked at him closely. He wasn't lying, but the truth didn't make me feel better. It made me feel like I had stepped into something too deep, something I couldn't fix. "What do you want from me?" I asked quietly. "Nothing," he said. "Just time." I stood up slowly. "I need to go." He didn't stop me. He looked down again, as if he expected me to leave. "I'll see you tomorrow?" he asked. I didn't answer. I just walked away. As I moved through the streets, I felt heavy. I had come hoping for a second chance, a small miracle. But what I found was someone I didn't know anymore. Someone broken. Someone who might never be whole again. When I reached the hotel, I sat on the bed and stared at the wall. I tried to make sense of it all. Why did he reach out now? Why me? Why not someone else? Then a thought hit me. What if I wasn't the only person he had contacted? What if I was just one of many old names he pulled from his past? I turned on my phone and opened the message again. It was short, cold, no warmth, no personal words, just, "Let's talk." It could have gone to anyone. I didn't sleep that night. I lay awake thinking about his voice, his eyes, his silence. I thought about the way he had looked at me, like a memory he couldn't hold on to. I wasn't sure if I would go back tomorrow. I wasn't sure if I could. I didn't go to the cafe the next morning. I stayed in bed, staring at the ceiling. My phone was in my hand, but I didn't call him. I didn't text either. I thought about him walking in and waiting, looking at the door every few minutes. I wondered how long he would stay before he realized I wasn't coming. I told myself I needed space, but the truth was simpler. I was scared. I had come back hoping for something warm, something that reminded me of who we used to be. But what I found was a man with dark eyes and a tired voice, someone who no longer trusted himself, someone who didn't tell the full truth. At noon, I finally got out of bed. I walked around the city without a plan. The wind was strong and the sky looked like rain. I passed the park where we once took pictures of the ducks. I passed the bench near the river where we used to eat sandwiches. Everything looked the same, but it didn't feel the same. I sat on a bench for a while and watched people pass. Couples, students, parents with kids. Everyone had somewhere to be. I felt like I didn't belong, like I had returned to a place that had moved on without me. My phone buzzed. One message. I waited. Hope you're okay. That was it. No questions. No anger. Just that. I stared at the screen. Then I put the phone away. I spent the rest of the day trying to think clearly. I thought about our past, how gentle he was, how we never shouted at each other, how easy things felt when we were younger. Then I thought about yesterday, about his silence, about his words. I'm not the man you remember. That part stayed with me. The next morning, I packed my bag. I had booked a train back for the afternoon. Before leaving, I sat on the hotel bed one last time and checked my phone. Another message. I'm sorry. Can we meet before you go? I sat still for a long time. Then I replied, 1 hour? Our cafe. I didn't know why I said yes. Maybe part of me wanted answers. Maybe I needed to say goodbye, not just leave. When I got to the cafe, he was already there. He was sitting by the window just like we used to. He looked up when I walked in. His face didn't change. No smile. No sadness. Just quiet. Thanks for coming, he said. I sat down across from him. The waiter brought me tea. I didn't drink it. You looked like you expected me not to come, I said. I did, he replied. And I wouldn't have blamed you. We sat in silence for a moment. Outside, a bus stopped and a group of children climbed off laughing. Inside, the cafe was nearly empty. You scared me, I said quietly. Not because you were cruel, but because you felt like a stranger. He nodded. That's fair. Why did you contact me? I asked again. Really? He took a breath. I've been in therapy, he said, for 6 months, trying to face some things I ignored for too long. Like what? He looked down. Depression, guilt, regret. I pushed people away. I lied to people I cared about. I kept everything inside because I thought it made me strong. And now, I'm learning that silence breaks you, bit by bit. His voice was flat, calm, but heavy. "I reached out to you," he continued, "because I remembered your kindness. I remembered how you listened, how you didn't judge me. I didn't come to get you back. I came to say I'm sorry." That surprised me. I waited for more. "I didn't know how to love people the right way," he said. "Not even you. And I hate that, because you deserved better." I felt tears in my eyes, but I held them back. I didn't want to cry in front of him. Not now. "I wasn't perfect either," I said. "I was scared to follow you. I didn't take the risk." "That wasn't wrong," he said. "You did what was right for you." We sat in silence again. This time it felt softer. Not heavy, not cold. "I lost a friend last year," he said. "Someone close. It shook me. I realized how much time I've wasted." "I'm sorry," I said. "Me too." He looked up at me. For the first time since I arrived in this city, his eyes felt familiar. Not because they were full of love, but because they were honest. "I'm not asking you to stay," he said. "I just wanted to face you, to tell you the truth. Finally." And what if I had never replied? Then I would have lived with that. But at least I tried. I looked out the window. People walked past without knowing anything about us. 2 people in a quiet cafe, saying things they should have said years ago. "I have a train in 2 hours," I said. "I know." I stood up. He stood too. We didn't hug. We didn't touch. We just looked at each other for a long second. "Goodbye," I said. "Goodbye," he said. I walked out. The door closed behind me. I didn't look back. At the station, I bought a coffee and sat by the platform. The train was on time. I watched it arrive and open its doors. People came out. Others got in. I stood up and walked to the door, but I stopped. I turned around and looked down the platform. He wasn't there, and I didn't need him to be. The train took me home. The ride was quiet. I watched the trees and buildings pass outside the window. I thought about everything he said, about guilt, regret, and silence. He was right. Silence breaks you slowly, but truth spoken with care can set you free. When I got home, I unpacked my bag and sat on the sofa. I turned off my phone. I didn't wait for more messages. I didn't check for new calls, because I wasn't waiting anymore. He had changed. So had I. But now, I knew something I hadn't before. Some stories don't need an ending. Sometimes, you just need a beginning that belongs only to you. I hope you have enjoyed the story. Like and comment if you want to hear more soon.